going on, everybody? It's Seifel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a FREDDIE DREDD type beat. I've been gaining a lot of subs from these tutorials, so I just want to say welcome if you're new. If you've never watched me before, be sure to subscribe, turn notifications on, and let me know which artists I should cover for these tutorials in the future. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so now we're in FL Studio, and the first thing I want to talk about is which type of FREDDIE DREDD beat we're going to make. He kind of has two main styles. One of his styles are more influenced by phonk. If you never heard of that, go look it up, it's fire. And then he has another style which is still pretty influenced by it, but I think it's more unique to him. So I'm going to be making the more unique style. And I'm also going to explain how you can also make his phonk beats. Alright, so step 2, now that we got our style down, is I want to find a chill sample. So I just have on the screen some of the things I looked up. You just look up anything on YouTube until you find what works for you. And now I'm not going to fully explain sampling. This is one of the few things I'm not going to go way in depth into in this video, just because I have a sampling tutorial up. Also, you may have noticed that I use multiple sections of this sample. I feel like he does this a lot just so you can switch it up throughout the song so it's not one loop throughout the whole beat. And like I said, I'm also going to be explaining how you can do this if you were making a more funk inspired beat like his other styles. So something I would do differently is I probably wouldn't use a sample, but if I did, it would be very eerie, atmospheric type of sounds. You can make these yourself or you can sample. I don't use samples a lot for these, but then you want to use the 808 cowbell sound. I'm sure we all have this if we've been producing for a while. And then just make some simple, super simple melody with that. And I'll play a beat example. Alright, now I'm going to be going into the next part, which you can do this for both styles. This is actually, I'd say, more inspired by his funk style, but something else he would do is he would use a rap vocal from like some old song. Just look up like Memphis rap vocals on YouTube, and then there's like whole playlists of like hundreds of songs. So alright, so now that I got that, next thing I'm going to be doing is the drums. And for both styles, the drums are pretty similar, so that's why I don't really have two different videos for this, and I'm just going to explain both of them here. So I'm going to just start with the snare. If you make beats, snares go in the same spot basically every time. Almost every hat pattern in his songs are basically 2 steps, so right click, press fill each 2 steps, and then you're done. Alright, and now next thing, a lot of the times in these beats you'll hear like some higher frequency noise like an open hat or like a bell or something, just playing quarter notes in the background. So you want to right click this and then press fill each 4 steps, and they'll do this. Alright, now that we got this, this is the more unique part. The kicks are pretty busy in these beats, so you want to have like a lot of kicks in a row at some parts. Alright, and now last thing is going to be the 808. Some of these beats actually don't have 808s. If you're going to do that, then just don't take out low end from the sample, which I'll get into mixing after this, but if you're going to add a bass, make sure it's a really deep bass, and don't use that many notes, like 1 or 2 notes. Alright, now for mixing, I'm just going to go through each sound and show you what I do. The most important thing, right here on the master, this beat isn't mixed yet by the way, so it might sound bad. Master, add an EQ and cut out some of the highs. That's the first thing I do, so... On the sample, if you're not using bass, make sure you cut out a lot of the low end just so there's room for that really deep 808. And then again, I cut out some of the highs. And then I added reverb. That's nothing crazy, that's not required at all. But right here, this is where I want to start talking about this. This is a bit crusher plugin. It's called Crush. It's free. You can use whatever bit crusher you want, but make sure you add one of these. It doesn't have to be on the melody. Some people will actually throw this on the master. I'm not a fan of that, but this should probably be on your drums. Not required on the melody, but I thought it sounded nice. Just add it a little bit. So this is it without it. Then with it. Just gives it more of that like a lo-fi, low quality feel. Alright, so now for the vocal, I just added a compressor just to contain it a little bit. That's not required again. Then I added the Crush plugin, Bit Crusher. And this part is pretty important, the EQ. I want to cut out a lot of it. Just about here, so just like that mid frequency. No low end, no high end. Alright, 808. I'm gonna see if I could turn some of the lows up. If not, I'm not gonna really add anything. Alright, for the kick, you gotta make sure it's knocking. I added a limiter on the master just so it doesn't like distort, because this is how it sounds without it. And this is with it. You just gotta contain it. So you can add whatever types of things you use. I feel like a limiter works for this style. I would never use a limiter in any other beat, but I do for here. And then I want to add sidechain. I want to make it so whenever the kick hits, the 808 dips in volume. That's what sidechain is. So it leaves room for the kick so it won't like distort and it will sound cleaner. And now to add sidechain, select your kick. And then down here on this arrow, click your 808 while you're selected to the kick. And that should do that. Make sure that knob's turned all the way down. Now go to your 808, and then add a fruity limiter. Alright, then you go to compression mode. Drag this sidechain to 1, turn ratio all the way up, knee all the way up, and then the threshold wherever it sounds good. So start low and then go up. Alright, so last thing's going to be the actual arrangement of the beat. So the way I structure these beats is I'll take an intro, usually 8 bars long with just the sample. Then I'll create kind of a part with the vocals. Usually the rapper won't rap over the vocals, so you're going to want to have parts with and without the vocal. And in these beats the drums are probably going to not change much. And that's everything. I hope this did help you guys. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and let me know which artists I should cover in next week's tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you next week.